Hello, everyone. This is Patch. Sweet Patch. Yeah, it's my girl. I love you. I love you. If you've been with me for at least 2 years, you know Patch went away for a week. And I had to go out looking for her, and I found her a few houses down the road where she had been living for a week, perfectly happy, living in someone's shed. Kind of makes you wonder, why would you leave and go? But anyway, that's where I found her. And so I didn't decide right away, but I decided pretty soon after that I would keep her inside. I don't know if you can even see my fire. It's kind of dark back there. Wait, do I have to go? No, I have to go this way. I actually did that just for your benefit. Golly, it's dark back there. Oh, well. See if I can get a little light on. Oh, that's a little bit better. How is everyone? Kaye here on my homestead in Tennessee. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, we cover gardening, number one, and number two, all things related to, I've got a light right over my head, all things related to trying to survive in these crazy times. So there's the fire. I quickly made it. It's not the best fire I've ever made. But I think that big piece of wood is going to get going pretty soon. So there you can see. But now you can't see my sunroom. So if you're new here, that's my sunroom. Well, that's where I keep my plants in the winter. It's not that sunny. It's sunnier than in here, but it's not really a sunroom. Okay, who's here, everyone? Okay, just let me take a quick look. I plugged this thing in, and it seems to be malfunctioning. So, yeah, it's not sliding right, not working right. So, I don't hardly ever use it, so I'm just going to have to use the trackpad. I'm just going to scroll up here. We're going to say hello, and then at 1:30, we're going to do a seed giveaway. Of course, if you've already been sent seeds or ordered seeds, or you're a good friend, and you would obviously know the answer because these questions are very easy today, please disqualify yourselves and let some new person, wait, where's the fire? There it is. Some new person win some seeds. Let's see. Dean is here. Dean, where are you writing from? I am blessed is here. I know. Why am I? Yeah. It's just opposite. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not opposite. That is where the red recliner is. It's just, it has been over here, and that's why I reached that way. There's a whole video about getting this recliner and a freezer for free in Nashville from a sorority sister from college. And when I got it, I thought, where in the world am I going to put that big old chair? But, I'm so glad I have it now because I moved my small lazy boy in there. Yeah, it's so weird. The office is, in there. And put it in my office, which is where I was located last week. I'm trying to find a good location. This is a great location for daytime because I've got a big window here. It's not good if I start at 3, but 1 o'clock, it's good. So we'll see. Max, I don't recognize your name. Where are you writing from? And if you're new here, welcome. Can't see out of my glasses all that well. I've got some of those lens wipes somewhere, but, I'd have to stop and think, where would those be? I'm just too busy. Can you tell? I don't even think I took the time to comb my hair. Yeah, that might have gotten forgotten. Uh, you're right. Ken says the couch looks like it's floating. Yeah, I know. It's weird. Oh, well, we got more important things to deal with. So Diane is here from Washington State, in North Carolina, Dolores, Leslie, Arizona, Max, Okla, Max, Oklahoma, Chickasha, Oklahoma, I'm guessing. That's right, Dean, you're in Missouri. And F Webb is, what is your name and where are you writing from? And Anna is Anna is encouraging everybody to do a thumbs up. We've got 81 have signed on. Welcome to my channel. I'm Kaye here on the Homestead. I did not publicize this on Facebook or anything. I just quickly put it up this morning because it's such an important topic, and it relates to everything else that's going on, and we need to talk about it and try to figure out something that we can do about it. Pat is here from Maine. Wonderful. Alicia from also Maine. Well, Pat and Alicia need to connect. R. Schroeder from Indiana. Sherry from Florida. Fantastic. And you know who we're missing is my friend Carol from Florida. Her son had a workplace accident, concussion, serious concussion, and she has been, you know, she has a lot to take care of to start with because she has chickens in her garden and she's on her own, and she's helping him. And I have not checked in with her. And everybody, I want you to send positive healing thoughts to Carol's son. Let's see, the Urban Homesteader is here. That's Teresa. She has her own channel now, and you'll have to check it out. She is the one that came last January and tried. I use the word tried only because if it had been successful, you would think I would be doing pressure canning all year, and I haven't done that. After I say hello for a few minutes and more people sign on, then we're going to jump into the topic. Every other live streamer does that, so please be patient for a few minutes. Coran from Kauai, fantastic! I think this is a first. Have you been on before? Well, Haffy is here. Haffy, are you operating as a moderator today? You know, I never discontinued that, so let me know if you want to watch out for stuff. Glitter World is here from where? And you must make jewelry or trinkets or something with glitter. One fantastic, Anne. I'm going to call you Anne. That's the easiest thing. Let's see. Sandra is here from. I'm not going to say that out loud, but I get the point. I lived there 32 years, and it was beautiful, and it breaks my heart to see what's happened there. But you know, if you think about the history of California, do you remember the movie with Faye Dunaway and oh my gosh, what's his face? Jack Nicholson, John Huston. I am blank. It's ridiculous that I am blanking. Help me out. The name of the movie. Come on. There was so much corruption trying to set up the water so that there could be a town, be a city there, Los Angeles and Hollywood. So, and wait, Diane, you just said where you were, and I've already forgotten. Let's see. Glitter World said, oh my gosh, Newfoundland. There is one other person that tunes in from Newfoundland, which is hard for a non-Canadian to say, but I do my best. And That is, I can't remember everything when I need to remember it anymore. Um, R. Schroeder, I agree. I actually am not from California, but I did live there a long time, and I lived in New York. Let's see, Sissy, thank you. Chinatown, thank you. Which is an odd name, Chinatown, but I don't remember the story completely, you know. So I'm sure there was some connection with Chinatown, but so much corruption. There's always been corruption, and we're just experiencing so much corruption now. And because we have the internet, we have so much more information. We just operated in the dark, you know, for decades, for, you know, all of last century, pretty much. And we just operated in the dark, and it really didn't know much. All we knew was what the nightly news told us, or the 10 o'clock news was local, and that's pretty, and the newspaper, of course. And you know, there was a time, and if you if you search out that video that I referenced in my excuse me, yeah, well, it's a video, but it's an interview, and he talks about the absolute corruption in big pharma. I mean, it's just quite something, and it has affected the news that we get. And so that's why anybody who is seeking truth now goes elsewhere from mainstream media and from the, you know, the talk shows on TV. That would be nice if it was Ricky Schroeder, Ken. That's right. Can we have a thumbs up, everyone? Just right now, make that 69 go up to 100. We've got 111 people, and I really appreciate you tuning in. We're going to talk about a very important subject. We're just trying to wait a few minutes, get a few more people signed in before we dive in. But I'm going to read, and then at the hour, we're going to just stop, and I'm going to ask 3 questions. And if you've already been sent seeds or won seeds, then or know me very well, just disqualify yourself. These are easy questions if you're familiar at all with my channel. Yes. Oh, Rhonda. Oh, Rhonda. Are you my new friend, Rhonda? No. My new friend, Rhonda, is in California, right? I have a new friend, Rhonda. So now I have 3 Rhondas. And I have a friend, another friend named Rhonda in California. She's my oldest best friend from the Palisades, and she watches my channel, but she rarely leaves a comment. That's wonderful, Sandra. David is here from the foothills of the Ozarks. Fantastic. Let's see where Simplify Garden is. Simplify Gardener is. I didn't see you sign in. There you are. Tony is here from Wales. And Hetty left a comment at the top. There's Hetty. Hetty says, I always put the thumbs up before I start watching or something. Oh, you were asking a specific question to someone, which I don't know anything about. But welcome, Tony. Tony has a fantastic channel. He's a great teacher, and he has a big allotment garden in Wales, which I have been to. Tony and I have met in person. We drank, he and his wife and me and my traveling partner. I can't think of her name at the moment. Oh, so many names going through my head. But we traveled, Marie. We sat in Tony's kitchen in Wales. Just think of it. You know, I love having a cup of tea with friends. And we were sitting in his kitchen. I was all the way over there. Just imagine, you know, if you're not a world traveler, and I'm not. I mean, I think maybe Wales. Wait, I would have to look at the lines on the map to see how where it is, the latitude. But it may be as far, is that farther north than northern Germany? Probably not. I guess it's not. Anyway, that's northern Germany is, well, no, Berlin. I think Berlin is the farthest I've been from home. Let's see. Let's get started here. Let me get to the. Oh my goodness. Tony's saying he was showing my video. We did two videos. Tony at the time had just set up a pond behind his indoor gardening area, and he's got it all going on there. If you want to see somebody that's got it all going on, he's got chickens in a different location. He's got, I mean, I haven't been there now in 6 years, so you may have switched things around, but you had an orchard on the hillside down. That was a separate allotment. And then you had big outdoor garden and indoor gardening. You had big UBC tanks to capture rainwater. You had the big compost thing happening, and leaf mold, and the pond. It was a great 2 hours. Can you believe I went all the way to Wales, and I think we were only there for like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe. It's just insane. Oh, good. People are finding neighbors here. I'm excited. Oh my gosh, he's got 21,000 liters of water storage. What is that in gallons? Let's see. Is it 2 liters to a gallon? I forget. Wow. Donna's home place is here, Tennessee. Yay. 5,500 gallons. Let's see. What do I have? Oof, you got a lot more than I. Well, I take that back. I do have probably about 5,000 gallons in my cistern, but it's just so problematic. And you guys have heard so much about that. I don't need to. 4 liters per gallon. Well, okay. Jackie is here from Connecticut. Jackie, I was just looking at your butternut squash seeds yesterday when I was organizing everything. Right, Daryl. Let's see. 118. Well, let me just preface this, what we're going to talk about today, because it's very concerning. And I just, let's have a show of hands or hearts or thumbs up or whatever for all the people that are aware of what's going on. I mean, John Kerry, former military man, former senator, who's now 80. Well, most of the people running the show are 80 to 100 right now. Kissinger just died at 99. So the Queen died at 98, I think. Her mother died at 103. Her husband died at 98. No, was she 99 and he was 98? Anyway, they all lived to close to 100. I don't know if you noticed, but anyway, John Kerry is our appointed, non-elected ambassador for the climate. And he is saying now, he was just at Davos, Switzerland, at the annual meeting of all the elite business, political, scientific, let's see, they may even have religious leaders. All the leaders, let's just say, all the elite meet in Davos and fly their private jets in, because Davos is not Davos. You have to fly into a city near Davos, and then you have to take a tram or whatever up through the mountains. It's very excluded, let's put it that way. And he was just there, and he has been saying this all over the news. I don't know if you've seen it, but this is his he's saying the farming industry, which we wouldn't be alive without, right? Must be destroyed in order to achieve net zero. That is their talking point. It's net zero. They're trying to arrive at net zero CO2 carbon. Anyway, they're completely wrong. And many experts have weighed in on this, but no one's listening to the people who really know. And his quote is, quote, agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions of the world, and we can't get to net zero. We don't get the job done unless agriculture is front and center. So last week or week before last, now we've talked about the World Economic Forum, which is basically the mouthpiece for the ushering in the New World Order with all of the controls and restraints on our sovereignty and our freedoms, and from our monetary system to the food we eat. And I just had a brain. My brain just went. Yeah, I prefaced that sentence so beautifully. What was I going to say? But the overarching goal is control of our food supply, control of us, and we won't own anything, and they'll control what we eat, and they're pushing insects like crazy. They like I've said before, they opened this huge factory in Canada that's producing insects for food, and cricket meal is going into many processed foods, and you really have to read your labels now. You have to read your labels anyway, because this all links together. What I was just talking about yesterday, 50 to 60% of adults and 30-something% of teens are pre-diabetic in this country. This interview that I saw from this guy who's written a book about this now, about this Ozempic diabetes drug or pre-diabetes drug. It doesn't make you not have diabetes. It doesn't make you post-diabetic. It manages your issue. And it's $20,000 per person. And if 60% of adults and 30%, 30 plus 30, 33, I think it was, percent of teens are pre-diabetic, think about the trillions of dollars that one drug company, which Wall Street is doing cartwheels over, is going to make. So, like I said in the video, do you want to be well or do you want to be managed? And the point he was making, and I encourage you to get his book, and I will put the book in after I'm done, I will put it underneath this live stream, and you can come back and check those links, because I don't have them right now and I can't put them on until this live stream is published. And I don't have a team of, post-production people or production people to help me. So he was saying that you manage, you reverse the condition. It's cells are not behaving correctly, which leads to diabetes. And the way you correct that is with diet and exercise. And now even Oprah, he said, Oprah has gotten on the bandwagon for this drug and that they want you to believe you don't have to worry about what you eat. All you have to do is take this pill. See how simple it is? It's not a pill though, it's an injection. So, and it's for life. Just like statins for cholesterol and blood pressure medicine. If a doctor puts you on these things, they put you on for life. And so meanwhile, our food plants, help me out. What one just blew up like the other day? Another one, we had last year, we just had dozens all over the world of food plants, processing plants, and chicken farms. This was a chicken farm. Where was it, in Georgia? Or was that, I think it was in Georgia. Was it in Georgia? Okay. Well, I think Haffy is here. Urban Homesteader has to go. So Haffy, just please keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, it's lifelong customers. And when you think about it, you think, oh, well, I'm dealing with my cholesterol. I'm taking a statin. Well, you're not fixing the problem if there is a problem. We've learned a lot about cholesterol since they started pushing these drugs. So do your research. Is cholesterol even a problem? Maybe certain kinds of cholesterol, LDL, HDL, I forget the ones. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Please do your own research. But, we go for 30 years or whatever, and they're saying, oh, eggs are bad for you. They raise your cholesterol. And now eggs are not bad for you. They don't raise your cholesterol. Oh, butter is bad for you. You need to take margarine. Oh, no, butter's not bad for you. It's been back and forth and back and forth. So anyway, they're pushing this agenda. Well, it's Agenda 2030. By 2030, they want everybody to be driving electric cars. And I don't know if you noticed, but the kill switch that they put on the all new cars after 26, I think, it's going to have a kill switch. So you can just be driving down the road. If you're not going where they want you to go, and they're going to know where you're going because of GPS and everything. Everybody, they know where we're going. So if they're going, no, you're too far from home. And what are you going to do? Strand all these people on the highway? I mean, think about this stuff. These politicians who pass these things, are they thinking about all the people that would be stranded on the road if suddenly their switches got killed? It's crazy. It's insane. And this is a free country, and we want it to stay that way. So I wanted to, let's see. Okay, Senator Ron Johnson, I got to give it to him. I got to give it up for Senator Ron Johnson. He has worked so hard to wake people up. He's had so many hearings. He's brought in all of these injured from the mandates, and brought in all these truth-telling doctors about a whole pandemic. And he now says it was all pre-planned by an elite group of people, which most of us knew, but maybe you didn't know that. Victor Davis Hanson is a great person to listen to. He's very, very smart. And I heard a great interview. This was recently on the Apple podcasts, but I'm sure you could find it. And and he was interviewing a man who just written a book about, he loved California. He was from California, this man that wrote the book, and he moved his whole family to Tennessee. Left California, had a beautiful house and a great life, but gone, left. And this book was about this mass exodus out of California and the impact of what it leaves behind and the impact it has on the states it's going to. Now, I know I'm skipping around, but there were a bunch. Okay, let's see. This is geologist Professor Ian Plimer utterly demolishes the, quote, human-induced climate change, end quote. He calls it, it's his words, hoax, or their words, hoax, in just 2 minutes. And this is where they're going with, they used to call it global warming, but they realized that didn't work anymore. They had to start calling it climate change because the globe wasn't warming. the oceans weren't rising, and they go, well, it's changing. Well, yes, it is changing. Most of the changes from the research I've done, and please do your own research, are from the sun. The weather, however, it's interesting. They never talk about the weather changing or what's affecting the weather. They only talk about climate, like for the whole earth. And the whole point is it's all our fault. It's all our fault. We caused all this problem because there are too many of us, you see. That's what they think. So the latest person to blame for this terrible situation are backyard gardeners. Yeah. So this came out, I think, a week ago or so. Daryl, do you remember where well, not only Daryl, but other people have mentioned this headline to me. It said, backyard gardeners are I forget how they phrased it, but backyard gardeners are more responsible for climate change than commercial industrial farming. Really? Really? So if you think about, if you just let your mind go with that for a second, I lived under 3 flight paths in LA, which I was aware of, but it wasn't such a pain in the what until I started my channel. I started making videos. I could only film myself on camera Sunday mornings I had to wait till it was light enough because the camera's gotta be exposed. If you go out to try to film as it's getting light, it's very low resolution to start. And so you always wait until it's at least just before dawn or before, the sun comes over whatever's, beside you. And so you've got about from 7:30 to 8:30, in the summer, maybe 6:30 to 8:30, because at 8:30, the Cessnas roll out of Santa Monica Airport. The people learning to fly, people getting lessons, and the tourists, and they went right over my house to the ocean. But I would be putting on my makeup at 6 a.m. upstairs, and we always left the windows open because we didn't have air conditioning, and it's SoCal. So, and I would hear the first jets going down to LAX at 6:30. And once they start, it's every 2 minutes. And so then I would have that, and that was constant. Those 2 flight paths were constant. And then occasionally there would be there would be rescue helicopters that would come from Van Nuys Airport over to the ocean to rescue someone. And so it was, and I could only do it on Sunday morning because there are no gardeners and no construction. Because there would be, I lived there for 25 years, and there was never a time when a house wasn't being remodeled, taken down, and rebuilt within my 2-block area. So it was Sunday morning is the only time I could film my on camera. It was a different kind of video then, because YouTube wanted short videos. I had a production team. It would cost me more money to make longer videos, to pay them. You pay them for their time, essentially. So I would do an intro. And by the way, I went back and looked at my video, the monarch migration. You have to go back and see that. It is so beautiful. I did the Western monarch migration, the trip, and just the video. It was just so well done. And I looked back at it and went, oh, my videos were so well made back then. Anyway, now I do it by myself, and it is what it is. I do the best I can. So this is the thing. Just imagine for a moment. Yesterday, I'm out with this, and you'll hear more about this in my next video. I'm out with a man who came over to look at my trees. And there's a Cessna going over my head very slowly, and I just felt that getting a little paranoid. And I felt that a little bit, because it doesn't happen every day, but when it does happen, it feels like they're just checking me out. And I'm going, can you imagine how, in Northern California, they I don't know if they still do because they changed the laws and everything. Everything changed when they legalized marijuana. But just imagine the marijuana growers, when if they would hear a helicopter going over, how they must feel. We're going to feel like that as backyard gardeners or front yard gardeners. Mine's all in the front yard. If they're serious about coming after us, I've thought about this, and the only thing I can think of that we have as a defense is that more people are aware of what's going on. Now, I know because a lot of people have left comments. They don't want to know what's going on. They don't want to watch the news. They don't want to be affected by it. Some people are just counting on, it all being over and God coming, the Lord coming back and all that. And then some people just don't have the funds to make any changes in their life or lifestyle. And so some people can't even afford. Some people watching right now may not be able to afford to put in a garden or to get help or have the. You can have a garden even if you're in an apartment. My friend Enoch, he grows a ton, and he has a whole channel and everything. And he may be watching, I don't know. And he was growing pots on top of a carport roof. I was growing, I had a very small yard. I was growing pots, containers everywhere, on the driveway, on the balcony. I wanted to do them on the roof. It was just a little too steep. And at a certain point you go, okay, you're not 30 anymore. Okay. You're not going to be climbing up on top of the garage to try just so you can get a few more plants in. But I wanted to, I really thought a lot about it. So my feeling is we just have to wake more people up. And more people have to be aware of what's going on. We can't be broadsided by this, because, they want to take the guns away. They want to take our cars away. They want to take our food away and feed us insects. And you think they're going to have all those things taken away? Of course not, So I just saw a headline today that and I don't know, I get so many. It was right on top, but Bill Gates was also at Davos, of course, because he's one of the elite, and people listen to him. He still gets interviewed, and I'm just thinking, why does anybody still interview that guy? He's responsible for so much suffering. It's unreal. And he says he has a whole new crop of vaccines he's going to roll out to protect us. Let that sink in. Oh, that's a good point. The decades of hunting marijuana patches were just practice for hunting hidden garden patches. That's interesting because I just remember my mother. Now, she was in Alabama, and I'm sure that it wasn't all wooded where she was, but she also always referred to, they had a potato patch. She always referred to it as patches. She had a potato patch. So I'm imagining you go in the woods and then it opens up a little bit and you got potatoes growing there. And then she'd have, then let's see, she'd talk about other patches. The turnip greens, You know, when you were poor, you just grew basically just the basic stuff. You grew turnip greens. I was just talking to her the other day, and she remembered poke, poke salad. I think it's poke salad. I always thought it was salad, and I'm going, poke salad. Well, poke is poisonous if it gets up. I think you have to pick it when it's young. But my grandmother knew all of this stuff. They were so knowledgeable. And this guy, oh, I can't wait to share this with you. This guy that was here yesterday, he had this older person that knew all of this stuff. And he was telling me, if you do such and such, this away and this away and this way, he was telling me how this man made hominy. When he mentioned the word hominy, it brought back bad memories, because I remember my father making me eat two things that I just couldn't stand. Well, there's three. Hominy, and of course it was canned. No canned vegetable is going to taste as good as fresh. But he was talking about using ash in a sock or something, and the way he made like wood ash. We were talking about wood ash at the time, and he goes, "This is the way this man made a hominy." I'm going, when this guy comes back, I said, I am putting you on camera, and you're just going to tell me all these stories, because this man who taught him is long gone. So he was telling me how he smoked. He went down and he offered to take down somebody's peach tree in exchange for the wood. So they didn't have to charge him, and they didn't have to pay him. I mean, and he came back with a peach wood, and he smoked, because he had a big farm, and he smoked his own ham and bacon and all of that. And he talked about smoking all that for like 5 days. And I'm going, oh my gosh, do you have any of that left? No, that was a long time ago. So all that's gone. It must be wonderful. So everybody's talking about natural medicine here. That's right. The people who died are voiceless, and many of the people who have died in the last 4 years shouldn't have died had they had early treatment. I mean, that's just sort of a complete statement right there. If the thousands of people had early treatment, they simply would not have died. And but nobody knew. We were listening to the authorities. So this is the thing. I think we just have to wake people up even more and more and more. We're at 143. We have 192 people here. Thank you for joining. I just went off on a rant there, and I hope that if you're new here, you'll subscribe to my channel. It's all about survival now. You're growing your food for fun. It's certainly fun. We get a lot of positive benefit from it. You even get, is it endorphins or serotonin? No, it's not serotonin. One of those. You get a chemical reaction from putting your hands in dirt, and a positive one. And it relieves stress. And just think of all the wonderful medicine that's growing in your yard if you don't mow it. I mean, I tried that. But it's interesting. I let a meadow grow up. I wanted to see what grew in there. And the first year was pretty kind of interesting. The second year, it was just all the grasses that crowd out everything. And I thought, well, shoot, back here, I've got fleabane, I've got plantain, I've got clover. All of these are medicine. But as I reported on 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, certainly in Canada is even worse than it is here. And they're our friendliest neighbor. And because the southern border is a disaster. Maybe with all of the awareness of the people going down to Texas, it will help. It will help. I don't know. I just think that, the government has gotten away with so many things because people just go, well, I'm not going to worry. There's so much to worry about. And so many people are working 3 jobs. I get it. When are you going to sit in front of the computer and learn stuff? You don't even have time to cook yourself a meal, which gets us back to the pre-diabetes thing, right? If you don't have time to exercise and you don't have time to cook your own food and go shop for your food at farmers markets, or even better, grow it, and you have to rely on pre-made food that's either fast food or, oh my word, the seed oils. All of this stuff is just so wow. I wanted to read you this thing. I just saw it again. I'm going to go right around the corner and see if I can find it, because I forgot to bring it over for this. But I just want to read it to you. I'm just going to look one place. If I don't see it, I'll be right back. I was more organized than I thought. So, has anybody ever, let's see, let me look at this. Oh, wait, it's 1:47 and we haven't done the seed giveaway. We're going to do the seed giveaway. We got 191 people, and I'm going to send you some free seeds that I grew from it's a family heirloom, a wild goose pea. And they're so easy to grow, and you could, from what you get out of that package, you could probably wind up with a gallon of peas, many meals. Where'd I put them? Okay. All right, here we go. Is anybody here? Oh, Gina's here. So the first question, Gina, I think you came in late. So the rules are, if you've won seeds or been sent seeds already, kindly disqualify yourself. And if you know me well, kindly disqualify yourself. Obviously, moderators, disqualify yourselves. But the first person to get the correct answer for this, Gina, which I think you know, I will send seeds, and you will go to my website, latebloomershow.com, and /contact. And there's a form there. You just put in your email address and you put a note and say, I won the seeds for question 1 or 2, whatever, and your address, and I'll send them. By the way, Mylan Jupe, are you on today? I haven't been. Oh, Rob is here. Allotment gardening. Fantastic. 7:47 p.m. Fantastic. Simplify Gardening was here. Tony in Wales was here. I don't know if he's still here. Anyway, you have to put your address. Jupe wrote in and said, I won the seeds. I wrote him back and said, well, I kind of need your address. And then he wrote back and said, oh, I feel so foolish. I was so excited. I forgot to leave my address. So I'm glad that dealing with my channel and me gives some people excitement. That's wonderful. Question number 1, what video of all of my videos have brought more people to my channel than any other? Terry, did you just sign in? I'm doing the that's a good question. That's a good answer. Glitter World says the trailer, but no, the trailer has got less than 100,000 views on it. Dolores. Okay, Dolores wins. Thank you, Dolores. Angela is here. We've been talking about all that, Terry. If you just signed in, yes, Daryl came from that. Many came from my loofah video. Yes, everyone, there are a few short ads during this live stream. Please be patient with that. I really appreciate it. It's the way I wind up with, you know, $10 or something after this, this is over. This is sort of a new thing that YouTube is doing, and I am allowing it to happen. I can say no, but then I can spend hours on a live stream and literally walk away with this much. So it is important that I bring in some income. So please be patient with that. So let's see, that was Dolores. I'm going to write that down because last time I didn't. Dolores, you know how to get a hold of me. Okay, so oh, good. Tony is still here from Simplify Garden, and Rob's Allotment Gardening is here. So you guys connect. You're in the same part of the world. Okay, so the number 2 question is, and this was from my first season, but I've also mentioned this here. I hope you remember, but I did a video in my first season and I said that there were my three favorite things to eat, and so, therefore I was growing, and I did 3 videos, separate videos of these 3 different produce. If you get close, if nobody gets them exactly, because you might be misled by one thing that I really enjoy growing, but it's not my favorite thing to eat. And I'll give you another hint. It has to do with living, being raised in the Southeast. Jeremy wins. Jeremy has been watching me for a long time. Jeremy is in Phoenix, and he said corn, watermelon, and tomatoes. Very, very true. So Jeremy wins seeds. Fantastic. Oh, that's funny. This is a newer one. I don't know. When I see JYLKYNG, I can't remember your name. It's impossible. Thank you, Jeremy, for supporting my channel for a long time, and I really appreciate it. God bless you. Let's see. Oh no. Well, Deepwater Homestead. Clearly, I'm going to have to come up with another question. I got to give you guys another chance. I heard that one of the ads ran, and they run at different times for different people, and I don't know when they're running. So it's like I can't control that. So I'll come up with a 4th question. But the 3rd question is, yes, Kristen, I love okra too, but I hadn't grown okra that first year, and I have said, in this garden down here, that corn, tomatoes, and watermelon are my favorite 3 things to eat. Let's see. I mean, I could live without okra, you know what I mean? But I can't live without corn, tomatoes, and watermelon. You know what I mean? Just wouldn't want to. Yeah. Well, everyone's is, Gina. I mean, I think mine is too. I don't know. Okay. So the question is, why I moved to Tennessee as opposed to Missouri or Idaho or Illinois. Why did I move to Tennessee? Well, yeah, everybody's got this. That was too easy. Oh, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, there's like 10 different people that got it, so let me come up with a different question, but thank you. You are all right. I moved to Tennessee, uh, the taxes, lower cost of living were bonuses, but I moved here because my mother was here. Okay, so let's see. Hmm. So there's just some that are just so easy that, again, 10 people will answer it. Hmm. Mm. A lot of people will answer this too, I know. I don't know. This this actually, is Angela still on? Not Angela, I'm sorry. It's no, Patty. Patty, yeah. This is a tough one. I don't know if anybody's going to get this. But I did a video about a certain, and I'm going to give you a hint. It was an herb, which obviously dried herbs become spices. So I did a video on a particular one back in California. And after that, I kept saying this phrase over and over and over. First, I'm just going to ask if anybody remembers the phrase. And if they do, they might not. Cigar box. Well, I was born, raised, and educated here, and so I left. Um, these questions are not for new people. Okay, you're right. Oh gosh. Mm. Hmm. Wow. It's just like I don't know. I don't. It's just I've shared everything, so I don't know that you would know anything. I mean that you wouldn't know anything. Mm. Okay, I just ask this is how did I happen to meet Daryl, who I've done a lot of videos at his place? Does anybody know? Linda said, "Can I ask general gardening questions that are impossible to know?" Well, if they're impossible to know, oh, Deepwater Homestead. I don't know how to do that. What is a randomizer? Okay. Daryl's got a good question. What strange fruit did Daryl have me eat at his house? That is a good question. Thank you, Daryl. I needed help. He said at the barbershop. No, we didn't. Daryl and I did not meet at the barbershop. I haven't had a real haircut since 2019. Daryl doesn't. Yes, Green Acres got that right. So yes, Green Acres got that question right. And then which was how did I connect with Daryl? I was coming to Tennessee. I put a notice out in a video. I said, if you live within an hour or so of Nashville and you've got a great garden, please contact me. He wrote to me, emailed me. He doesn't have a smartphone. Well, he didn't have my number. He wrote to me and I went there and we've made, gosh, I don't know, 10 or 15 videos now. But the fifth question is, what is the fruit? Did anybody get it yet? No, it was not bitter melon. What fruit did Daryl have me eat? What strange fruit did Daryl have me eat at his house? And this was just last year, I think. Israel, I will ask that next. Kelly, you need to go back and watch because I had quite a monologue about all that. Let's see. Wait. I think I saw the answer. It went by too fast. Okay. Is Sherry the first one that said that? Sherry and Terry both said that. Okay. So Sherry, let's see, Sherry and Terry said it almost exactly the same time. So it's called miracle fruit. And the thing about so there's a video. Was the whole video? Yeah, I guess the whole video was about that. Miracle fruit, he had me taste, you can taste a lemon. And then, you know how the lemon is bitter. And then you eat the miracle fruit and then you taste the lemon and it's not bitter. It changes, I guess, the pH. I don't know. It changes something in your mouth. Daryl, you can explain it better. He said he hadn't been to a barbershop since 1969. That's funny. So Sherry and Terry need to write me. Terry, you already have my, I think I already, Sherry and Terry. Sherry, you need to write me with your address for seeds, okay? And one last question. Israel suggested that, what was the name of my favorite button shop in New York? I just put this video up this past week. Oh, hey, Jules. Yes, I put a notice. I was hoping people would remember. The reason is because there's a kind of a prepper group, I guess you'd call it, like-minded people meeting up in Cookeville. And so they meet at 4. So I'm going to meet Daryl there and we're going to, they're going to talk about a bunch of stuff we need to know. Leon has got it. Leon guessed it right. So Leon got that. So if you don't already have my email address, then please, cigar box, the button in. That's cute though. I like that name. And Ruth says favorite fruit is kumquat, but don't you have to use a lot of sugar? It's very, I tried growing a loquat tree. in California. I didn't have a kumquat. Thank you, Jules. I appreciate that. Oh. You can't receive email. Okay. Well, you can write to my post office box if you want. And you know that, don't you? P.O. Box 2358, Lebanon, Tennessee, 37088. I haven't been over there in a week, but I need to go. So if you write me with your address, that'll work out. Okay, so let me just see some of the notes that I had. So it just depends on how, this agenda that they have is, I mean, they're not giving up. This agenda has been in process. I mean, George Bush Sr. was pushing the New World Order. And that went right over my head. I didn't know what he was talking about. Didn't mean anything to me. But back then we didn't have the internet. And so you saw a little clip of the president speaking, or you saw a little blurb on the nightly news of something from a hearing in Washington. And then somebody might have done some kind of in-depth story in the New York Times or some reputable newspaper back then. And you would never, you just wouldn't even know to get to, you wouldn't be flagged, but now we have so many sources. Just I'm not even connected to that many people, but just, I mean, my friend in Texas just sent me just today, she sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, that's just our group thing. Gosh. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 14 just today. Different pieces to go and look at on all different topics. Of course, we may have a little time, the backyard gardeners, and we may be able to organize somehow. But the more people that just look at the border crisis. Okay, everybody was just thinking, well, that's Texas's problem, that's Arizona's problem. It's not when 22 million people come into your country, because that's the equivalent of 5 or 6 states worth of people. It's going to completely change the demographic. And the question is, and the Brett Weinstein was interviewed the other day, and he is this, deeply intelligent biologist that studies all kinds of things. And he had done some of his early research work in Panama back when it was under U.S. control. So he had a unique perspective to be able to go. He went down with Michael Yon, and I was talking about Michael Yon the other day. He's probably the person that knows the situation about the migration invasion better than anyone, because he travels all over. He's outside of the U.S. 75% of the time. The only place you can find out anything from Michael is on Twitter. So if you're not on Twitter, which is now called X. Sorry, it's ridiculous, but anyway, it's called X. Hey, I'm not a proponent of that platform, but right now it's the best place to get a lot of news. You got to filter through a lot of stuff to get to the news, but yes. Anyway, he did an interview and he went down there, and basically what he's saying is that there is a migration and there is an invasion. and the migration is coming. The people are being sent up through the Darien Gap, through the jungle, which is formidable. Many people die. They step over bodies. You lose your shoes. You get hypothermia. You have to sleep on the ground. It's terrible. And then you come out on, and it's only 60 miles long, but you come out on the other side, and then he didn't even go through. He just went to cover what is going on in the Darien Gap. And he explains, because if you've been around since it was transferred over to Panama, it might be of interest to you to kind of know what it was like and what it's like now. Well, they're in a drought. They don't have enough water to lift up the canals to get the boats through. And he explained why. Let me think. Yeah, it's very complicated. The invasion part, there's another camp. He went to the one camp where all these people that are going through the jungle. And then he went to another camp. And these are predominantly, this is built and controlled by the Chinese. Chinese are taking over Panama. Their intention is to take over the world, as you know. And we have Chinese police stations all over this country. Did you know that? How does that happen? I don't get it. Who's in charge in a city? Them or in New York, the NYPD, or them? How do they work that out? So we can't sit back and say, well, that's not going to affect me. It will. It's going to affect us all. At the same time, we have this, now the focus is on, they've blamed everything, and the farmers are revolting in, you don't see it on the mainstream media, but the farmers are revolting in France. They're revolting in, they've been revolting in the Netherlands for a while. And will they win? Will they succeed? I don't know. But if they don't, it's going to be bad. It's going to be scary. We have to support our farmers. We have to support our military. We have to support our National Guard. And we have to support each other, our backyard gardeners. Let's see. But the idea is to cut off the food supply by destroying the food plants. That already happened. The attack on our food supplies from all sides, they're burning fertilizer plants. They've made certain fertilizers that are integral to the success of certain, types of farming in France illegal. They have, of course, satellites, surveillance, drones, helicopters, yeah, I've already covered all of that. Let's see. There's a Canadian. I meant to look up. I've been following him on Twitter. I need to look up and remind myself, what he is. But he posted this morning. Anybody know the last time it rained in February in Calgary? Question mark, question mark, question mark. So I guess it's mostly snow in February in Calgary. And it's raining. And he says, he used the word, a different form of this word, but I'm going to say he said chem sprays are working. You know what I mean by chem sprays. So they're working. So that is a key thing that we as gardeners, we have to be aware of. This is what we're battling. We need indoor gardening to protect us, from that. And, if you have a big garden like I do, I can't put that inside, that would cost many thousands of dollars to put it inside. And I would never reap, never get that money back. You couldn't grow enough food in 5,000 square feet to get the money back for the building that you would put over the top of it. So I don't know. So somebody said, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not bliss now. We must wake up. And that's the message that I hope you take from this. And I hope you tell other people to start doing their research. And it is going to affect you. It is going to affect me. It's going to affect everyone. Meanwhile, they're trying to approve all these illegals that are coming in to have guns so that they can join the military. And it's just like, wait a minute, you weaken our own military. And we have all these restraints. And you want to take our guns away, but then they're giving them guns and they have no loyalty to our country or knowledge about our culture or anything. It's a recipe for disaster. So, and there's this, just like with marijuana, which I'd never grown and had no desire to ever try. It's too difficult. I've heard it's very difficult. It's very hard to hide a garden. It's just right out there in the front yard or backyard. And if they decide to press charges, it won't be a misdemeanor. You could be a felon. And you know what happens to felons, right? You lose your access to guns. You don't get to vote. Your rights are taken away permanently. So if you don't think this is scary, you just I don't know what movie you're that's going on in your head, but this is all of us. So anyway, that I know that's very depressing, but this is where we are. And what did I say in the Family Bibles War video yesterday? Is it's all there. Not only in Matthew 24:6, but it's in Revelations. It's all spelled out that we have to go through all this. But we don't know the timing. So all we know is this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and this part could last for a long time or a short time. We don't know. We don't know the timing. So in the meantime, we have to spread the word for everybody to be as prepared as they possibly can to build community and to spread the word and not be indifferent or ignorant. And ignorant doesn't mean a person is stupid. Ignorant just means you are not knowledgeable about the facts. And if you're watching mainstream media, then you are not knowledgeable about the facts. You are, as this guy pointed out in the corruption of the pharma, they have complete control over the television. They are the largest advertiser on television. So the people working there are not going to go against that to tell you what's really going on. It is, Kristen. But the good news is, some people say it's 365. I have not counted. I do not know. But do not fear, or fear not, is in the Bible. They say it's like 365 times. So, and even in Matthew 24:6, it says, didn't it say that? It said something like, but fear not. Anyway, our faith has to be strong, in my humble opinion. And that's what's going to get us through, regardless of what happens. We have a very bright future to look forward to. In the meantime, we can just do the best that we can to try to wake people up, because there's more of us than them. And if we if I am able to wake up 169 people, maybe you're able to wake up 169 people or 2,000 people or 5 people or 2 people, you know? Everybody does what they can. And then all of a sudden, you've got 340 people that said, well, wait a minute, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that was going on. I didn't see that headline. I wasn't aware of the cricket meal in the food. Oh, I went over to get this and then I didn't read it. Has anybody ever eaten a Little Debbie? It's like a cupcake or something. Have you eaten those things? They look good. They look good, right? And so have you ever just looked at the ingredient list? Because someone gave me a box. It was like part of a basket of goodies, for doing something nice or whatever. And they looked good. And I thought, I wouldn't mind having a little sweet treat right now. I said, let me look at the ingredients. It's always do that, because especially if you're pre-diabetic, you have to start watching your diet and you have to start exercising. Here are the ingredients. Well, first of all, did you see that the ingredients go from there to there? Okay. Then, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but ingredients in order of amounts, they're listed. So like if you get carrot soup, hopefully the first ingredient will say carrots. Or if you get, a can of corn, it'll say corn, it will be first. And then in the case of, you would think something that's made a little cake, you would think flour, right, would be the most ingredient, because when I make bread or banana bread, or when I make cake, or when you make even cookies, the largest ingredient is usually the flour, right? Because that's what fills it out. But in this case, it's corn syrup. And we know that all corn syrup now, unless it says organic on the label, and it wouldn't for any kind of commercial food, is all GMO. But anyway, corn syrup is the first ingredient, which means it's the largest ingredient. And then enriched, and then you have the enriched bleached flour. And then it's got all the various vitamins that they put into that flour. And then it's got palm and soybean oils. Both of these are bad, okay? But don't take my word, do your research. So here you have corn syrup, and then you have bleached flour. And then you have palm and soybean oils. So that's the first 3 ingredients. And then this has with TBHQ, have no idea what that is. I'm sure you could look it up. And citric acid to protect flavor, to protect the flavor. You got to protect the flavor because you want it to last a little while. What happened to my fire? Oh, man. That big log was too far off to the side. And then the next is sugar. But we started with corn syrup, which is sugar. So that's interesting. And then whole grain rolled oats. That's not bad. Water. Depends on, doesn't say filtered water. So we don't know what kind of water it is. Could be fluoride or chlorine water. And then we have dextrose, which is another form of sugar. And then we have molasses, which is another form of sugar. And then we have raisin paste, which basically is another form of sugar. Soy flour, leavening, baking soda, that's fine. Sodium, whey, salt, soy lecithin, cornstarch, caramel color, mono and diglycerides, sorbitan, monostearate, polysorbate 60. Remember back? I mean, I remember like when I was young, they were talking about polysorbate 80 was bad for you. Well, I don't know if polysorbate 60 would be any better, Eggs, palm and kernel oil, bad. Egg whites, and here we go with yellow 5 and red 40 food dye, blue 1, that's food dye. Now, why do you need food dye in a Little Miss Debbie? I don't get it. A titanium dioxide turmeric, that's not bad. Annatto extract, I looked that up once and I don't remember what it is. Beta carotene, that's supposed to be what carrots have, so I don't know if that's bad. Cocoa processed with alkali. Can't comment on that. High fructose corn syrup. We started with corn syrup, and then we went to sugar, and wheat, which turns to sugar in the body. And then we get down here, and it's high fructose corn syrup, rice flour, non-fat dry milk, modified cornstarch, more cornstarch. Okay. We had the cornstarch, and then we had the modified cornstarch. Datum, modified, tapioca starch, because we haven't had enough starch yet, right? And carrageenan, sorbic acid, I forget what that is. Oh, that's to preserve freshness. So we have something to preserve flavor, and then we have something to preserve freshness, which means preservatives. And spices, natural and artificial flavors, citric acid, malic acid. Oh, and here we go. This is in absolutely every medicine. Every medicine, even tablets. I can't swear that it's in every medicine, but I called a pharmacist and asked them about propylene glycol, because if you read labels, you will see propylene glycol in all kinds of stuff. And they use propylene glycol to kind of make things have a consistency, And then we have monostearate, sodium stearoyl lactylate, polysorbate 80. We already had that, had it again. Oh, sorry. Yeah, polysorbate 80 again. Pectin, sodium citrate modified, wheat starch, because we certainly have not had enough starch. And the last two are chocolate and cocoa butter. Now, if you made it yourself, you'd go wheat, even though you add the wheat at last. There is the most wheat. You'd use wheat, sugar. You'd use baking soda, eggs, and butter, and chocolate, and what am I forgetting? Salt, maybe a little salt. So the total fat is 7 grams. Saturated fat is 3 grams. Polyunsaturated is 1.5. Monounsaturated is 2. No cholesterol. See, they can say, hey, there's no cholesterol in this. One gram of protein, 1 gram of fiber, no vitamin D, no calcium, a little bit of iron, and no potassium. Allergy information contains wheat, soy, milk, egg, may contain peanuts or tree nuts. So there you go. Clearly, it's better to make your own food. When you make cornbread, you use cornmeal, egg, milk, baking powder, and a little salt. That you don't have to use salt, but you can. And if you want to make it really nice, you can put a little cheese in it. And that's like 6 ingredients. But when you put something on the shelf that has to sit there for like could be sitting there for 6 weeks or 6 months, you got to have all those chemicals in it. And now you wonder why. So I'm circling back with we're in the same problem. We've got all these sick people in this country. Our country's been weakened from sickness. And it's because they are working 3 jobs, I mean, when I grew up, not too long ago, uh, the father could work and the mother could stay home with the children. And my brother was just commenting about this yesterday when we were traveling, or day before yesterday. Uh, Wait, was it yesterday or it was day before yesterday? That, you know, one person, well, it was 90% of the time it was the father, maybe more, could work, and the mother could stay home with the children. So you have this foundation. And, the nuclear family has been systematically attacked for the last number of generations. And you could even afford to go on a vacation. You have a modest home. We had a very modest home. We lived in town. We had asbestos shingles on our house. They used to put asbestos in shingles. And we had one of those white shingle houses. You don't even see those anymore. But we had a white shingle house. And my mother made all this furniture. So the paper came in and interviewed her. I say the paper came. The Nashville Tennessean was the paper. And it was a good paper at the time. And they came and interviewed my mother because she had made all this furniture out of scrap iron and she was really good with tools, and she had made this train table. Have I ever told you about this train table? Maybe I'll use this as a question coming up later. But my mother made this train table because we had this fabulous train. It was the old model was the one that was about that big. The train engine was about that big. Was that the O model? I think it was. And so we got this for Christmas one year, and we had a small house. We didn't have any place to, and my father bought all the stuff to go with it. It was fantastic. Fantastic. And so my father used a 4x8 sheet of plywood, and he put the track down and put all the structures, and there was like a tunnel, and of course the station where you offload all the barrels, and the crossings and the people, and it had it all. And that horn, I can still remember that horn. Can you imagine after all these years? I just love the horn. Anyway, so my mother said, well, how am I going to protect this thing? It was up in the attic. I don't even know how he got that down, because we had one of these, these pull down things from the attic, and it was up there. And we would go up into the attic at night when it was cool, because it was well over 100 degrees up there in the daytime, in the summer. And we'd go up there at night, and my father would make it all work, and we would just be fascinated, my sister and I. And then when he added on to the house, because now we have 4 children, and so they added on to the house. It was just one of those tiny little 2-bedroom, 1-bath, tiny little house, so modest. And he added on to the house, so we had a downstairs, and this train table, this train was moved down there. And my mother said, well, what are we going to put it on? How are we going to protect it? It's got all these little pieces and little things, and you don't want anything falling on it and breaking. It was just perfect, had the little bushes, the little fake bushes and everything. And so my mother got the idea to make a train table. And so she put this 4x8 sheet of plywood on 4x4's legs. And she had so it had 4x4 legs and a whole shelf underneath it, so you could, put things underneath it. And then she built a cage. My mother was very good with tools. My father had a tool cabinet. It was so cool. You open up it was cedar. This whole console thing was cedar, and you open up these cedar cabinets, and all the tools were hanging neatly inside this tool cabinet. I just remember it. Oh my gosh. And my brother has all these tools, but he won't part with them. So, and he had one of those drills that had the wooden, the beautiful wood, the reddish wood on the top of the handle, and then you crank it. My mother had no power tools, and she made this thing. And so she built a cage. There were these 1x2s that went down. And so she made a cage about this high that went the length of the 8 feet, and then the 4 feet that way, and then that way. And each side had this cage, and she had a grill inside it. I guess it was like rabbit wire or something. I don't remember, but it was about that high, and each of these folded up. And then the top was 2 pieces, and it sat on top, unfolded, and then it all hooked. These hooks took together. So you could, to get into it, you just unfold it, lift that off, put it underneath on the shelf, and drop these. Yes. No, it's at 4:00. Yeah. The moderator called me. Anyway, the meeting is at 4:00. So we're at 2:30. So it's time to sign off, but I'll just finish this. So it was this fantastic thing, this train table. And it was all protected. You could still see it through the grill, And she did all that with tools, and I'm hopeless with tools. I learned a lot of things. I'm good at a lot of things that she was good at, but I never got good with tools. And that was probably because I was, living in the city, and I didn't really have any kind of work area. But anyway, I don't know what you've been talking about during that whole story, but I didn't want to end on such a down note with the situation we're in. Because we have to be positive. My goodness, we still have to be positive and cheerful in spite of all of this onslaught. So with that, don't forget to write me and your addresses if I don't have them. Dolores, Jeremy, everybody guessed the number 3 question, so that's out. Green Acres, Sherry, Terry said Sherry was first, so Sherry write me, and then also Leon. 5 questions, 5 people write me, and I'll send you my seeds this week. And I've got some stuff coming up. I've got a couple of interviews, one on the 19th and one on the 21st. But I hope to be traveling next week if all goes well and the weather's okay. Made some great progress yesterday in the garden. You'll hear about that in my video on Wednesday. And so we're just moving along, and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going in the face of all this, right? So we're not going to cave. And we're not going to be afraid. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Yes, just send them, Green Acres. Send the seeds to my post office box. I'll get them, and then I'll have your address. Yeah. And be happy and peppy and bursting with love. Oh, I loved The Odd Couple, a song from the Odd Couple TV show. That was Jack Lemmon, and that guy lived in the Palisades. The other guy with the black hair. Help me out. Who was it? Wasn't Jack Lemmon was the grouchy one, and the other guy. That was also a Broadway play. That was, a lot of different people played those roles. But in the TV show, it was Walter Matthau. Walter Matthau owned if you came up there were two roads into the Palisades, and if you came up the first one, you turned off, and one street over, he had a big one-story long yellow house, pale yellow house. Daryl, you would have loved it. And that's where he lived and passed away. And Jack Lemmon, I have been to his where he's buried. He's buried in the Westwood Cemetery, in the same place that Marilyn Monroe is buried, if you can believe. And it's just a small little cemetery in Westwood. And I went in there, and can you guess, does anybody remember Jack Lemmon? He was a fantastic actor. Fantastic actor. Oh, wait, the TV show is Jack Klugman and Tony Randall. You're right. So where was Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon? They were they in the movie? What am I remembering? What am I remembering? Oh, okay. So it was the movie. All right. Got it. And then the TV show is Jack Klugman and Tony Randall. Tony Randall was also, well, they were both very talented too, but these two, I mean, Jack Lemmon, there's like nobody was a better actor than Jack Lemmon. He was just amazing. Anyway, you go up to his burial site, and on the monument in front, it has Jack Lemmon. And, sometimes you have a quotation or something underneath, like some loving thing it's often just some generic thing that they write on there. But, on his, it said in. I-N. Get it? As opposed to out. Like you go to an office and you go out of office, till 2. But he was in. I think that's brilliant. The meeting starts at 4. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. I'll be lucky Sandra, I'll be lucky to get this, to get by with what I said today. Yeah. I mean, I did say something about that earlier. There's so much information online about what they're putting in the skies, and this has been. I mean, they've had hearings on Capitol Hill about this like decades ago, and some people still believe that it's not happening. But even though they've admitted it is, and it's in all the government documents and everything. Yeah. Frederick Von Cold. The Odd Couple was great. Yeah, I guess the Odd Couple maybe remember Maude? Was it Maude with all three, or was that her own show later? Oh no, it was the Golden Girls. These girls. I mean, people loved that show. So many women loved the Golden Girls. Oh my gosh. Okay, they are saying it's time for me to go to my meeting. My meeting is 1 hour and 15 minutes, but I will sign off. I do have time to get there. It's at 4 o'clock unless something changed. And I really appreciate your attention. So many people, still I have 148 people. I hate to even go with that many people, but don't forget to get started on everything. I am get your almanac. This Gina sent this to me, and get your your. I mean, I know we're in February, but it still has a lot of, I'm sure it has a lot of planting by the moon. Well, this is the Farmer's Almanac. They plant by the moon and stuff, so you can get your calendar and get started. Somebody wrote me today. I said, get started. So my onions are doing well, and my I wound up getting 9 out of 13 of my 8-year-old loofah seeds sprouted. So that's just amazing. That's like almost 80% germination rate. So incredible. So I have that to look forward to sharing with you. So I'm going to go. Thank you so much for your attention. Please share this live stream with a friend so that we can make more people aware of what's going on, and we can somehow retain our food sovereignty and our own personal sovereignty. So it's all at stake. Thank you so much. Yes, Rob, you can do that. But as soon as I stop for 5 minutes, it'll go off. But please do carry on. And I didn't really hear there was somebody that signed in really early on from Spain. I wanted to welcome you, and I hope if you're still there that I'm not too late. This couch was 1960, late 60s modern furniture. Have a great week, everyone.